Kuya guys, this is MM1 Bendita from the US Navy. So I am one of the prior service recruiter here in upstate New York. So today in this video, I will be discussing one of the most important codes that a service member receives when they get discharged from the service. So the code that I'm referring to would be the Reentry code or RE code. So this RE code is really important because it would serve as a passcode that recruiters like me review to find out if the applicant is eligible or ineligible to re-enlist. And every branch of service has their own set of RE codes that tells what's the reason why the member got discharged, and if they're gonna be able to go back in the service. And for you to find out what's your RE code, if you're from active duty branch of service, it's going to be located at your D214 lower right portion, and it's going to be either in service member 2 or member 4 copy. And then if you're from the National Guard, it's going to be on your NGB 22. Of course, the usual scenario is if somebody committed a misconduct, they are either going to get the other than honorable discharge, bad conduct discharge, or dishonorable discharge conduct. That's the usual case. But sometimes people appeal and they have their RE code changed, so sometimes when it happens they might be eligible to apply to re-enlist again. And of course, if somebody was able to go to boot camp and was able to join the service, but they weren't able to complete at least 180 days of active duty, they're gonna be considered as entry level separated because they weren't able to complete at least 180 days of active duty. And sometimes they get, for RE code portion of their document is NA, which means that they're not determined. And then if they're trying to go back to the service again, they will need a waiver. For the Navy side, it needs to be approved by Commander Navy Recruiting Command. And talking about the RE codes, I would discuss first the RE codes that render somebody ineligible to re-enlist again. So there's only 4 RE codes that would make member ineligible to join. This is the current one. Later on they can probably change and make changes on the RE codes. But if you have an RE2 and you were transferred to the retired fleet reserve, you're not eligible because you're retired already, unless if you're in the TDRL or temporary disability retired list. That's and then you got medically cleared, you might be able to apply to go back. And then if you're RE3 alpha, so that means you were discharged because you were an alien, so that makes somebody ineligible to enlist. And if somebody has RE3 Charlie, which is he or she is a conscientious objector, that would also bar somebody or prevent somebody from going back to service. And the last RE code that makes somebody ineligible would be, of course, the famous RE4 or the dishonorable discharge RE code. Unless the only time that the Navy or that would approve somebody who was an RE4 to go back if they were discharged solely because of homosexual conduct, as noted in Note 1. And the proof that somebody has that situation would be on their Block 26 of their DD214, they need to have the code GRA, GRB, or GRC, HRA, HRB, and HRC. So if those code is written on your D214 Block 26, that's the time you can be able to apply to re-enlist again. Of course, and then aside from those 4 codes, there's other codes given, RE code, that would need a waiver first and then have their temporary disqualifying condition get cleared first before they're going to be able to go back. So if somebody is RE2 and then they are on the TDRL, temporary disability retired list, they can apply to go back in the service if they're cleared, medically cleared, and they were told they're fit for duty or are able to come back. RE3, so if they are at least not, except for RE3 Alpha and 3 Charlie, they're going to be able to go back as long as the waiver for the disqualifying condition is approved. And then if they have RE6, which is high tenure, so if they got kicked out from active duty because they weren't able to get promoted on time, example, someone who's BM2 and they reach their high tenure and were not able to make E6 or BM1 on time, they can go and apply for a high tenure waiver to be able to join the Navy Reserve, because the high tenure in the reserve is different also from active duty. And RE8 is the last RE code that requires a waiver. And this one, if someone has or failed PRT, or not PRT, recruit training command. So if they have an unset performance during RTC and got discharged, they will be able to go back as if the waiver from that one gets approved. And then lastly, the waiver that gives you a free pass or golden ticket to go back is if a service member has RE1 or any RE1 with a letter code and RE Romeo 1, which is the preferred enlistment. So that would, if we see that as a recruiter, that means this guy or girl is eligible to re-enlist again. So for you, if you're trying to go back or before you're separating from the service, make sure all the documents or your awards, your MOS qualification are properly documented in your DD-214 or NGB-22, because having it fixed afterwards would be more difficult than having it fixed before you get out. So aside from that, I think if you have any other questions, you can comment below, and I will also provide a link to some useful websites under this video. And thank you very much for watching the video.